Hi guys, welcome to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We are in the cottage garden once more and we're going to be embarking on a project that I mentioned earlier this year where we're once again fighting the Houttuynia. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I document 2 gardens on this channel and right now we're in the cottage garden where we have a scourge really affecting it, which is a ground cover called Houttuynia, also known as chameleon flower, that is hugely invasive. It was something that we added to the garden once it was built at like the recommendation of a landscaper who was helping us with some things, and we regret it. It is a thug. It's voracious is not like good enough a word to describe its habit. And the last couple of years we've been trying to eliminate it. Last year, one of the things we did was we put down landscape fabric. Well, what we did last year was we actually cut it down, sprayed it with like chemicals, put down landscape fabric, hoping that would be enough to smother it. It definitely slowed it down, but it did not kill it. My dad then spent the rest of the summer, anytime we saw it, spraying it with some pretty harsh chemicals, which again, slowed it down, but hasn't killed it. So this year we're going to be trying a slightly different method. Because even though the landscaping map fabric it's one of those heavy duty ones, it's grown through it. So we're actually going to be removing all the landscape fabric we put down last year, which will probably expose like the itty bitty babies right now, at which point we will be spraying it with Roundup, which is a really pretty harsh chemical. I know someone commented on our last video that we need to be careful with it. We are. It's not something we're going to actually spray today because it's too windy. And I actually know in some countries you can't actually get Roundup because it's that bad, but it really is needed to treat something like this because we've been spraying it with Roundup and it hasn't killed the plant. So if that gives you an idea of what this is, it's a lot. As I said, we're going to pull up the landscaping fabric because it didn't do the job we wanted it to. We're going to spray any of the emerging babies. And then I have 10 millimeter thick agricultural grade plastic. Now this is more like a silage tarp, but in strips that you would typically use on like garden beds. So actually at my old house in the city, I would always put them on my vegetable gardens in the winter to help cut down on weeds that I had to deal with. The idea is that what this will do is deprive the Houttuynia of sunlight. It will also really heat it up and encourage it to spawn, and any other seeds that are kind of trapped under there will like germinate and kill them as well. It helps sanitize the earth naturally using the sun's power. We are going to commit to having this tarp down for a year. There are some plants in these areas that we're going to tarp around. We're going to have to watch them to make sure that they're still getting the water they need. My experience in the vegetable garden beds was it actually helped retain water, but I don't know, since this is a larger expanse, if that will be the same case. So we're gonna, play it by ear and hope that this will help largely eliminate them. We're probably still gonna have to spray around the edges, but it's really the only thing left we can think of other than removing like 2 feet of dirt, which we're not gonna do. Because part of the reason these plants are so voracious is they travel by runner and they literally go down 2 or 3 feet. So they're really hard you can't just dig them up. You have to remove 2 feet of soil and then all of the roots. So let this be a warning to you. Do not plant this in your yard. Save yourself the aggravation. Because this is going to be a little unsightly, but it's honestly the last thing we can think of doing, other than just having to resign ourselves to spraying for eternity, which we will probably have to spray and flame weed for a period of time. But I don't think that we're hoping that this will take care of the larger problem, and then it just becomes small pockets that are easier to eliminate eventually. That's our thinking anyway. So let me give you an overview of the areas we're going to be working in. I'm not sure if this is going to be 1 video or 2, probably more likely, because this is going to be quite a large project. If you followed our channel, you know that we have Houttuynia in this bed a lot, and in this bed, which will be handled soon. But it's quite a windy day, as you might be able to tell. So we're going to work on the side that's protected from the wind. This right here is the bed that we are going to be focusing our priorities on first. So the Houttuynia has kind of come along here. You can see the exposed fabric we're going to pull out. You can actually even see it beginning to emerge. This is the Houttuynia plant. It's a variegated red type, which is pretty, but awful. If you lift the fabric, you very quickly will see it didn't do its job. And you can also see actually along the edges as well. So the Houttuynia is all in this area, and it's actually also crept, even though originally it was only planted. I have absolutely no idea what this landscaper was thinking, because they thought we could keep it contained with just aluminum siding. No way. I don't even think bamboo guard could keep this contained. Like, and bamboo guard goes like 18 inches deep. Like I said, it goes 2 to 3 feet deep. It started to hop into the path a little bit, and we just need to take a little bit more drastic action to stop it in its path. So that 2 to 3 foot spot right there, this Houttuynia, over the course of, 5 to 8 years before we decided to try and eliminate it, has spread this entire way. It's a little spottier over here, but it also comes to approximately here. There's a couple things I'm going to be doing ahead of time as we prep the space to make sure it's ready for this mitigation treatment that we're going to attempt. Right over here where it's just ending, we have 4 arborvitae. I actually don't know what type these are, and this one was planted when one died, and we thought it was the same, and obviously it's not. What we're going to do is actually remove these, putting them in pots, because they're still really nice plants. We want to use them. I think they're really cool, but we're going to put them in pots and see how they do this year, just so we can make sure we're not digging up Houttuynia with them. The last thing we want to do is introduce this to additional areas of the yard. This clematis is beautiful. It can't really be dug up, so we're going to be working around it. We think pulling these plants out into pots will make it easier to get the tarp down. I've got some weeding I need to do. I probably don't have to, but it's just going to make the job a little bit easier. And then I'm also going to take these racks just for right now and try to keep the order they're in and move them to the other side of the path so that we have a nice clean edge to work with. Once that's all done, I'm going to come in and pull up the fabric, and then we'll be ready for the spray and plastic portion. Now, we don't want to do that until the wind has died down, because we don't want the spray to be carried on to other plants that we care about. So it looks like tomorrow we will have a chance to do that. So today is going to be mostly about prepping this area so it's ready to be sprayed. When that comes, I probably won't show that on camera because my dad's going to do it. So he will spray it. We'll let it sit for as long as we can, probably 6 hours is what we're hoping, so it dries really well, and then we will come in with the plastic and weigh it down. I am going to set you guys up, and we'll just kind of dive in and check in here and there to see how it goes. This is the area we're going to focus on first. As I said, I'm hoping we get it completely prepped in and my goal is an hour and a half. Things always take longer than I think they will, but I'm going to be interested to see how long it takes us to get it prepped, and then we might move to other areas in this video. They might be a separate video. I honestly don't know how long this is going to take. So we're going to play it by ear. Anyway, let's dive in and see. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed with me. This help eliminates the problem we have here. Okay, we have decided to take a slightly different tactic here than I had originally talked about. This video is just going to do this one space. We're going to tackle the other two spaces I showed you earlier where the Houttuynia is at a different time. What we ended up doing was like pulling up the fabric, taking up the mulch. My brother and dad did pull any of the rootlets they saw. And then we sprayed the edges, but we did not spray any exposed roots for two reasons. One, Roundup in particular can penetrate the soil. And then if you use too much of it and it gets directly into the soil, it can damage plants that are in the soil, including ones we don't want damaged. The other thing is it's not as effective when sprayed on roots. It's better when sprayed on the leaves. So the areas we did spray were around the edge where leaves had appeared. And then we left everything else. One thing I don't think I've mentioned is this method is called solarization, where we're using the power of the sun to really kill everything. One of the things we're going to have to do is watch the plants that are in this area very carefully to make sure they're not stressed, because this plastic actually got kind of hot as we were laying it out. And it's a pretty thick plastic. I brought a piece of it here, it's folded over so it's hard for you to see. But I mean, it is nice and thick, which we wanted because we did not want anything to be able to push through. This, I think I did say, is agricultural grade, which means it's UV stabilized, which is important for two reasons. It's not going to leach anything into the soil that's bad, and it won't break down in the sun. So making sure you get agricultural grade or farm plastic is important if you're doing something like this. The other thing is, I was reading, and I said I thought we'd commit to doing this for a year. I think we're going to have to commit to doing this for 2 years to really ensure that everything dies dead. And that is pretty disappointing, but it's better than having this plant here. So let me show you what we ended up doing. And this was actually going to be one of the more complicated areas because of the plants that are in here that we are leaving in here. So we did come in and pop the stones back in. My dad, I don't know if you saw this in the video, but he did come and dig a trench all the way around so that we could put the stones that line this path back in just on top of the plastic. Since it is going to be here for a year or two, we thought, you know what, better to just have them in here rather than sitting on the side for eons. We also have the plastic, it's a little higgledy-piggledy in this area because you probably saw us cutting slits and squares around plants. We have two clematis here. We have a blue meringue lilac, which is budded up quite nicely. And then we have a Japanese maple. I think this is a crimson queen. Japanese maple, which we planted. I think this is going to be its third season in here. We did remove the pole that was here because when we planted it, it was rocking quite a bit. We wanted to make sure we were giving it some stability. It's in there pretty well right now, and we would rather it strengthen on its own than with the pole. And it's also pretty nice and straight. This thing, I think we're hoping it'll get to about, and then we'll probably raise some of the canopy, but that's for when we can finally landscape this place. I think long term, it looks like there's a lot of sun right now. It's in the sunniest part of the day. Sun's right up there. But as things leaf out, it's going to get a lot more protection. We're a little worried about how hot it will make these roots. So again, we're going to be watching these closely. We also did dig up these plants. I don't know if you really saw, but I essentially dug them out, got all the soil out, and picked out Houttuynia roots, which are very distinctive. These have been sitting in the sun for 2 days, but they're white and thick. And we haven't done this with plastic yet, mostly because there's a couple things we want to do first, and we're running out of time. So this is going to be a project for next time, where we just line the plastic, and we're going to bring it all the way up to the step. The Houttuynia kind of stopped. This last plant, I did not see any Houttuynia roots in. So this is just going to be very tricky. And as I said, we're running out of time for the day. So it's going to have to be good enough for now. We will probably do a video where I do the two other areas. I'm not entirely sure. My dad might do some of it on his own. You are going to see a video in a short little while where we are doing some spring cleanup, where I also start digging out the lilies in one of the beds. That in preparation for this plastic method. And it's just been a very full weekend, and I'm looking forward to going back to the city and resting and working this week before doing it all again. If you've ever dealt with a plant like this and you've used something else to help treat this or mitigate it, please comment below and give me some encouragement that A, it worked, or B, some lessons you learned or things that we could keep in mind as we're dealing with this. We have tried so many things trying to combat this, and realistically I think the only other thing we could do is removing about 18 inches to 2 feet of soil, sifting through it, and then putting it back, which I don't know if we will do, let alone, I mean, we could probably physically do it. I just don't know if we will, because that is a lot of work. So I really appreciate you joining me. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.